So welcome to the Music Royalty Lab podcast. Today we're just going to have an informal chat with my best friend, my life friend, my right-hand man in everything we've done musically, Matt. You've been part and parcel of this whole journey. So this is actually a really special conversation for me, just to talk about life, this product, Music Royalty Lab, the journey of getting here. So this is long overdue.
So Ziels, it's been such an amazing time being around as AI has burst onto the scene and been able to bring to life a lot of these problems and solve a lot of these lifelong problems that we've been going through together. And it's been overwhelming the amount of quantum leaps we've been able to make. And I've been so excited from what you've built. You've gone into push the awesome button mode and built an amazing tool for all us musicians out there that are just so hungry to get our music out into the world. But we're not sure exactly all the little bits and pieces that are required business-wise. We're so into our music, we're so into the mix, we're so into making sure that we can connect with our music and share that with the world. But it's the sharing it with the world that actually you need the business sense. We need someone to hold our hands and make sure that we're doing everything correctly so that we can actually turn our dreams into a reality. And take us back to how this whole thing started and how it ignited for you.
I think the problem you're highlighting is exactly where it started. Back then, when this was almost like pre-internet days where we started, and the evolution of the industry has been so complex to navigate over the years. And I'm thinking back to when we started releasing music. I mean, we started releasing music together first, back in the day. We were still so young. And we didn't have a clue. We just put it out there and crossed our fingers. And it was through that process of burning our fingers, signing deals that weren't good for us, the evolution of technology, all of these changes that happened around us, that this idea kind of birthed around me, because I started asking questions back then. This is like 20 years ago now. How does this work? How royalties is such a foreign thing that nobody teaches you. I don't know if anyone that knew a lot about royalties back then and even now, how the systems work and how it all plugs into each other. And I was working back then with Big Cat, as I was building my career with Figure of Eight and all of that, sitting in studio with guys like AKA and talking about these kind of realities of how do you manage your business and how do you put your team together and how do you collect your revenue and what's your sources and all of that stuff. Just asking curious questions. I had their ear and we were working together, and through that experience I realized that not many people know what's going on here. They're signing away a lot of their rights. They're going into deals and management deals, and
well, that's actually the old school way of it, of let me partner with someone that can just take care of it.
Yeah.
And so I can make my music and everyone else on the recording side will actually just, whatever they do back there, let them do it.
Yes. And it was fueled by an outdated mindset, you could say. Or if you think of it, when we started, pre-internet, pre-Spotify, pre-YouTube, pre-social media, there was a reality around gatekeepers, record labels. We signed to labels because back then, I was fortunate that we had the production studio and we could create the production ourselves. The world of laptop recording emerged. But just prior to that, we had a reality where you needed expensive studios, you needed to hire engineers, musicians, it was an expensive business. And then the record labels took advantage of that to control the whole distribution sort of ecosystem. And that put artists in a position where they were reliant on these big entities, labels. And that's the mindset that a lot of artists were still dealing with, that you needed a label to get anywhere. And to a degree, it was a reality, but it started phasing out. And we were there in that time where it was sort of transitioning, and that mindset of the gatekeepers is what was my aha when I just realized, man, there's other routes. And now it's so prevalent with AI and release tools and DistroKid and all these sites that can get your music out there. That gatekeeper concept has completely fallen away. And that's part of my mission as well with this platform is I realized that if people only knew, if they knew that there were routes that they could do this themselves, the system is set up. You just need to understand the system, the SAMRO, CAPASSO, all these elements that you need to go and get your business in order. If you knew how to do it, you could do it yourself, cut out the middleman, and it's your business that you're setting up. If people only knew the power that gives you, you can avoid years. I mean, I can name stories like this of the Bongi Muviane and the AKAs also had some trouble. Tresors, the guys that learned the hard way in business relationships. And even us, I mean, we didn't have great experiences all around. We worked with great people like Rob Cowling and really like champions for us. But it's not always the reality. People take advantage when they're in that power position like a gatekeeper. And I think that's where this was born, to help artists, South African artists specifically, see that system, see how it all stitches into each other so that you can DIY it well, not just guessing it. You know how to do it. There's a structured system. And that's my mission, to help South African artists set up a business that thrives so that we can have that export product, because we've got incredible musicians, artists, writers. Africa's under the spotlight. And there's an opportunity now for South Africa to really shine. So the more we empower South African artists with knowledge and business minds and understanding of the systems, the better our industry is going to do. And that's really my goal and hope and dream for this product is to empower the artists.
And some examples that you've also like made me aware of that I'm like thinking to myself, wow, that's actually quite amazing, is that some people, we're living in an age where they put their song on TikTok, it blows up overnight.
Yeah.
Because it's just got that banger, it's got that hit thing about it. People are resonating with it, you know. They're plugged into the creative source and they're putting out something amazing there. All of a sudden, they've got all these eyes on the song and a dance challenge or whatever it might be. And sometimes, if the business hasn't been taken care of, then all revenue is completely out of reach.
Absolutely. We had that, right?
Yeah.
Vuvuzela.
Yeah.
It was our learning curve where we realized, flip, that is everything being organized in the back end. We just put out Vuvuzela, not thinking about how we're going to monetize it if it goes viral. And overnight featured on Brazilian primetime TV, blew up. We had no back end system. We made zero money off that interaction. We felt adored. We got a lot of fan mail and all of that. But in the end, it was like, oh, wow, it was this fleeting moment. And that's really where understanding the system helps you set that up. Because if you've got your back-end set up, you've got your channels and your flows and your royalty systems and everything well linked and connected, then especially now in the era of AI and social media and all of that, virality, it's there, it's possible.
And I honestly thought that if I just put my song on DistroKid and send it out to the world, I'm covered on all bases.
Yeah.
And I think that might be a thinking of a lot of musos out there as well. It's like they'll take care of it because there is a streaming revenue that you do see.
Yeah.
But now that you've showed me all these other little areas that I'm completely missing, I'm like, we might be leaving the most money on the table.
Yeah.
You know?
And this is an important part because royalties are a complex thing to understand.
Yeah.
Like, it's taken me decades to figure it out in a way that's practical and easy to explain to artists, because what people don't understand is DistroKid collects one part of your revenue, your mechanicals and your streaming royalties. But there's a whole other side, your publishing, your writer's side of the music that DistroKid just doesn't collect. So your song could blow up like Jerusalema. You just released it with DistroKid. You're losing more than half of your revenue from other sources that you are not collecting. And I had that experience as well with some of my tracks where I realized, wow, I'm not fully covered. I go and register at these sites, and all of a sudden I get these big checks of backdated royalties and things that started coming in. I thought, man, people need to know this. It's not common knowledge. It's hard to decode. The other reality is that, so you've got performance royalties, you've got mechanical royalties, and you've got sync royalties. But you can register for these performance and mechanical royalties at different sites. And if you do it wrong, you can really mess yourself up, because if you get an overlap claim, all of a sudden there's conflicting rights to collect, and the source, the streaming platform or whoever, will just hold that, put a freeze on your money, because now you've registered for the same thing to collect twice. So understanding which one collects which royalties, what royalties you are entitled to, it's a complex maze. And that's really where the thinking of this platform originated, was explaining to people the evolution of the industry, because mechanical royalties came from an era which is not relevant to right now, but it's still copyright law. So it came from a time where piano rolls were being transcribed into, or piano sheet music was being transcribed into piano rolls to create automatically playing pianos. And now all of a sudden you had this reality of a mechanically reproduced song. And now that era was fleeting, very short, but it was written into law. And now 100-year-old copyright law is still applicable to us today for mechanical reproduction of music.
Wow.
And the industry in its whole was built layer by layer in this way. So if you go back and you understand the origins, and you understand all the intricacies of how these copyright laws emerged and were linked to each other, and how they changed as countries started working together, because that's the other evolution. You had this previous reality where you had to have sub-publishing deals and, really complex collection networks. That all started changing when society started working together. Now you're all part of CSAC and these global organizations where SAMRO, they've got these partnership agreements with international collection societies, where you don't have to go and do all the hard work of finding the royalties. There's these arrangements and agreements that collect that stream. And this isn't broadcast far and wide. It wasn't something that you see every day. In fact, I argue, why are some of these societies not doing better marketing of how they actually work and how to benefit their artists? But that's really where this product fits right in.
So if I'm coming onto the Music Royalty Lab, and how difficult is it going to be for me to understand this really complex world?
If we start with the basics, and we start with the building blocks, it gets a lot easier to digest. And I think that's where, when I started investigating this stuff, it's very easy to get completely messed up, where you're like very confused about what's happening and how it's actually working. And what I've done is, over 15 years, worked on this content to make it learner-friendly. And doing that through setting up the building blocks, the fundamental principles really clearly. And therefore, we've got a foundation that we can build on. And that's, it's a complex system. And I don't want to, people must realize that it still remains complex. It's just cleanly explained, but there's still a lot of complexities to it. So it goes through phases. The courses are set up in terms of progression. So you're going to start with the fundamentals, then you're going to go into royalties and publishing and the deep dives into those topics. Once you have those fundamentals in place, you're going to see the whole picture. You're going to see it holistically, and that's when it starts making sense. That's when you start going, oh, I'm missing this and that and that. And we didn't have that 25 years ago. We were just poking in the dark.
I know. And you know what? Going through the courses got me so amped and excited about the dream that I still have, that I'm carrying with, about sharing my music and putting it out there. And knowing that I'm receiving these gems, this wisdom that I need in order for actually to make this a reality. And understanding it fairly, okay, I get it, and it's so nice. I mean, it's so visually appealing. I'm getting the story, I understand the case studies, and it's really opening my mind to going like, you know what, I actually can do this. And I'm literally the most, I try to avoid all admin at all costs. I'm that type of guy. I would rather just make sure the song is nice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know there's some admin that I need to take care of, but it's explained in such a way that I'm like, no, I can do this. I can do this, and I need this, because this is actually the key that's going to unlock it.
Yes.
You know, I sometimes in a delusion, if I just make the song good enough, it'll pay off for me.
Yeah.
But actually, that's not really the reality of the world. We need to be organized in our creativity.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's where the need is. That's where people get taken advantage of. Where you're just so desperate to not take care of that you just outsource everything, and then it hits the fan.
So it's really self-empowering for the artist of 2026 these days.
Yeah.
You're really empowering these people, because sometimes it used to feel like, I needed a record label because mostly I needed someone to believe in me just as much as I believed in me. Because when they said sign this contract, that's like them saying, I believe in you, you know, more than understanding what happens on the back end over there, you know. And then they all realize that, no, actually at the end of the day, it didn't really work out for me business wise. And you're empowering people right at the start. And we're now in a world of AI, and people are making tracks a lot quicker. So maybe we can go there and just see what trends you've seen as well with artists that are actually able to create and actually be able to release their stuff a lot quicker into the world. But still, if you don't have the right release plan, it's still not going to turn into anything for you.
Not going to go anywhere. Yeah, and obviously AI made a lot of people from outside the industry into the industry. So, brand new wave of songwriters and creatives entering the industry, not knowing anything about it. Just, hey, here's this app, this tool. Let me just put my stuff out there. And some of them are really gifted curators of these AI tools that just get tracks going viral, and they just get it. And it's for those artists and for anyone releasing music. If you don't understand the system that you're entering into, your track can go viral and you lose out on all of that. So, especially in this era now, where we've got new entrants into the market, we've got old mindsets. You know, we work with a lot of old school veteran, maybe, who came from that era artists.
Yeah.
Who don't understand this new TikTok world and all of that stuff. And the industry has evolved as well. So this product is for everyone in that sense. It's for new entrants who know nothing. It's for old veterans who just want to do things better, learn from their mistakes, sort of get their foundations set up well. And everyone in between. To understand the industry helps you own the industry, to make money from the industry. And if you miss that step, we all enjoy making music, but if something blows up and you feel this feeling of soap slipping through your hands, it kills you. Like we've been through it. It's the worst. And you want to be able to capture that moment of attention, because that's the other reality. That death of the gatekeepers, it shifted, and social media into the picture, it shifted the type of industry that it is. It's now not a distribution business of getting the music into record stores or available to buy. That's now taken care of by streaming and social. It's now an attention business. So if you can get attention onto your brand, your song, and you can maintain that attention and you can divert that attention into a monetizing structure, gigs, or songs that are going viral, or content that engages artists and builds following. If you don't have those systems set up, that's so slipping through your hands experience. So that's really where this product is living.
I'm just so interested in that one example that you also told me about. You work with Inhale, Exhale. You've created Inhale, Exhale, meditative music, chilled out study music. I listen to it all the time, played a big part of my life. But you had a really big win with that, being placed in an overseas TV show. And I believe it to be like quite a big show.
Yeah.
And how did that all play out for you? Did you learn anything from that? Was it a win?
Yeah, that's one of a couple of examples of this sort of sync placement that we've had. We've had over the years, I've had quite a few, because before that I did royalty-free music on Audio Jungle for many years, and a lot of those tracks did similar things, being used in adverts. But this particular one was on Amazon Prime. I was collaborating with a writer, Neil Engel. He's a flippin' fantastic musician, artist himself. And we put together a background jazz album. And that song then got picked up by an agent in America for Amazon Prime, pitched it. And it just sort of happened quite quickly and organically. But Neil and the team had connections and the right people in place that made it just go on fire.
Boom.
And the streaming and everything after that has been what the success as well has been. That brings attention to the channel, and all the knock-on effects of that on the channel have been a lot of the lessons learned as well. As you see, it's all connected. Yes, there's sync revenue and all that stuff, but that drives everything else. And it's that connected mindset that I think more than anything I've learned through that process. How to make sure that you can capitalize on success in any of those areas. If it's a sync placement, if it's a playlist placement on Spotify, you're capitalizing on any attention that you can get on the internet.
I'm thinking of like a 17, 18-year-old kid that's just got all the energy in the world, and he can spit out lines, or he's got some ideas, and he's stumbled upon Suno, and now Suno's become his production assistant, and he's getting all his ideas together, and he's got a little home studio, and he's be able to busting out some beats and stuff like that. What is your advice for a person like that who's like dreaming of, I could do this, I could get this out there, I've got something going?
Firstly, I agree. I think people who believe that, who feel that spark and that fire, man, I believe in them as much as they believe in themselves. And, for those of you listening, you've got that thing inside. You should be releasing more music. You should be creating more. And my advice is always going to be, let that fire loose. Let it go. Let it run. Let it burn. But channel it smartly, because we've seen too many of those artists. I've worked with countless here and in Figure of Eight that had that fire, but they just had no strategic goal and aim and vision, and they just wanted to make the music. And that's the one thing that's definitely stood out from the artists that make it. I've worked with the Trésors and those artists who from the beginning, they would speak these their vision was big. You could see they were dreaming big. They were seeing it. They were organized. They were getting team members in place. They were collaborating well. They were networking well. And they had this dream locked in their mind. Versus the other artists who just focus on the music, and they almost have this blinder on of what could be. And I think that is part of it. If you don't see that big picture, you're not going to be able to work the steps backwards, get the right team members in place, get the right setups, get the right live show going, get the right royalty system set up. You're not going to see it on that scale. So I think my advice is believe in it, see it, dream it, I believe in this whole quantum theory
Yeah.
of, if you can see it, if you can hold it in your mind, if you can maintain that state and that belief and that energy and that drive, things start happening. It starts moving. Like there's momentum and the wheels unlock. But it starts with that, my favorite author of all time, Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, always talks about begin with the end in mind. Just start there, see it, set your aspirational identity. And that's going to help guide your decisions of when should you be scaling up, when should you be changing direction, changing gear. Yeah, it's just such a important factor to not just be aimless. Set that vision.
I love that, mate. I love that. And once they've got that song in their hand now, and they're like, well, not in their hand, they used to be in their hand, but on their laptop or on their phone, and they're just about to get ready to release it out to the world. Talk about the collaboration, the possible collaboration that they could have with Music Royalty Lab.
So this platform was built with collaboration in mind, realizing that your power lies in how you team, how you partner, how you bring people into your sphere of influence, whether it's other artists on your track, whether it's musicians to make your composition come alive. It's a team effort. And so the platform has a bunch of features built in, especially the audio collaboration. I was realizing my WhatsApp channels were bananas of like, here's this version of the file, here's this note on those mixes and this and that and that. It gets hard to manage and maintain. So firstly, one of the things I wanted to build was when you are writing a song, finishing a production, making a mix, mastering a track, you need to collaborate on comments and audio files and all of that. So the system is built in a collaboration tool. But then further to that, you can invite unlimited team members into your release. So if you are now ready to put your music out there, it's a complex system. There's a lot to do. That's the thing. People don't realize that as much as we want to make it not admin intensive, there's a lot of admin. Like you do need to do a lot of that work. So if you don't have to just outsource everything in terms of management, contracts, and people taking care of your business, if you just want to bring people into your team and say, you take care of that, you take care of that, you take care of that, and it's this collaborative effort, you can assign team members to tasks on your roadmap steps, and you can make sure that all the steps are taken care of, whether it's you clicking the steps or whether it's your team members that you bring on board. It gives you that collaboration as well. So release one song, bring in all your team members, get those tasks set up, make sure that every box is checked.
Wow.
And then you release with confidence.
That's amazing. We are definitely stepping into the world of collaboration, even if it's just finding someone online who's going to collaborate on a track, or your manager's staying an hour away.
Yes.
What an amazing feature to be able to bring them all into one place.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so you're not working with work in progress number 4.5 and you're not sure if it's the final one, or that's amazing.
Organized. Keep all that organized. And especially when it gets to one of the rookie mistakes that we learned the hard way, that I really want people to avoid, is not making sure your files are well looked after. When you're done with that production, you likely would have spent money making that production come alive. You need to make sure that you've got your stems and your mixes and all those things backed up, because what's happened to me, stems go missing because a hard drive crashes. Now, years later, there's a sync placement opportunity and they want to use this file, but they don't want to vocal in, they want this and that out, and they want to chop to this length, and they want these manipulations. Now you're stuck. Now you're like, I don't have the stems. Okay, these days AI tools can extract stems, but rather just be organized. Have your file saved, set up, and that's where the platform as well serves that function. You can upload all of your stems, your files on there. Any of your team members can go and download it at any time. It becomes your vault.
Wow.
It's backed up in real time. It's a safe space to put all your stuff. You don't have to worry about it.
Amazing.
So we want to make sure artists are empowered with that file collaboration as well. So to that artist who wants to release a song, He's maybe written the song, gotten the production to a good space. He's busy finalizing the mix. The more planning he can do in advance, the better he can execute on his release. So the roadmap is really built for that process. It's going to help you guide your thinking. All the boxes you need to check, the release strategy, the distribution platform, the monetization channels, all those things, you just do it once, you plan it well, you get your system set up, and it step by step is going to walk you through how do you release this music with confidence. And there's AI tools built into this, where you can generate artwork and EPKs and release links and smart links and all this stuff to help you get your music out there and look pro. But step by step, you're going to make sure all your ducks are in a row. And that's really where the slogan. Get your ducks in a row, because that's the way you make sure when the song blows up, you're covered. You've got your stuff. And you look professional. I think that's the other thing. People don't realize the power of first impressions. If you're submitting your song to radio and you just send them this blank text file and no images and you just don't put any effort into it, they are not going to take you seriously. The next release, they're again going to remember that reputation. So first impressions last, especially in this era.
I remember when you were building the platform and we got a gig inquiry for Sergeant Fu, and we didn't have anything to send to them at the time. And I think you took that as an opportunity to build this feature into it. And a day later, you sent me this smart link to everything Sergeant Fu, from the photos to the videos to the press release to the tech rider to the hospitality rider. Everything was there and it looked amazing. And when I looked at it, I felt so proud. I was like, oh my goodness, this is us.
That's us, yeah.
And it gave me that good vibe. And it was, it's a very special feeling to know that you got your ducks in a row.
To know that what you send out, people are going to take you seriously. That, because the industry it's the entertainment industry. So you need to put on a show, you need to put your best foot forward, you need to make the effort. And that starts with how you're represented in the media. That starts with the link you send out to your fans. All of that counts to building a following, building a reputation. And that's what this platform is really empowering you with. So yeah, we built it from the ground up to be that thing that separates you from the rest. If people are receiving a request or a song submission or anything of that nature from a tool that is set up well with something like the Music Royalty Lab, you're going to stand out. You're going to be the choice above the rest. So let's set you up for success.
And there's such a vibe. The reason why I love the roadmap so much is that there's nothing like ticking off something on the list. There's just, oh my goodness.
Good old dopamine hit.
Oh man, it's such a vibe. It's really such a vibe. And creatives, a lot of the time, they start with the song or whatever, and then they jump to step 10. They're thinking about something else already, and you put your attention there, but you've basically skipped out 8 of the most important admin tasks that actually are going to be helpful in this whole process. But that's what it's nice. It keeps you on track.
Yeah.
It's step to step. That's what I really, really love about it. And that's what gives me like this hope for myself, for you, for everyone's using this platform, for anyone out there, that this is actually going to just, it's easy to take one more step.
Yeah. And even if you skip ahead.
Yes.
And you're busy with this, so let me just take care of this and this and this and this while I'm in this headspace. It keeps you grounded, because that's what I realized when we were releasing music, when I was dropping tracks with NLXL. There's a lot of things to take care of, a lot of sites to go and upload and make sure it's represented well, social media, all of these things. So the overwhelm of that can easily stop people to release music.
Yeah.
It can easily be like, or just release it with an absolute flop, just put it out on Facebook or Insta or TikTok once, and they don't know how to push it further, and it just fails. So that's really where this gives you confidence to know I'm planning it well, I'm step by step building everything that I'm needing. I'm embedding the metadata so that when I send out a file into radio submissions or anywhere, those royalties will always be linking back to the originator. Things like that, that is the difference between artists actually making money from their song or not. You plan it out well, you structure your steps, sequentially you get there, and that's what I realized, is that it is a step-by-step process. You know, the next Sergeant Fu song, step-by-step, play-by-play.
Yeah.
That's how this thing goes. You can outsource certain parts to your team members, but
you can still be the CEO overlooking, making sure that we're still on track, even if you're not taking care of every little admin task.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. And that's what this really empowers artists, is to see it as they're setting up their own business, taking control of their own destiny.
Wow.
They're not outsourcing the important parts, the parts that could get them in trouble or lock them into deadly contracts. They're taking ownership of this business. So you're setting up and if you think of songs are intellectual property. They are property that you own. So if you understand a house as a property and you can exploit that property by renting it out over lifetimes, the same thing happens with songs. It's a property. You can monetize and extract value from that property. So this is now giving you the knowledge for how to monetize your songs and how to extract value from it, but also the mindset of what steps are needed, what chess pieces need to be in place for maximum extraction, and how do I make sure that all my money comes into my pocket. That's really what it is. Because when you go and look at it, it's small things like, we've had this, you don't make sure your metadata is consistent across different sites. You spell it here differently, and there uppercase, and here lowercase, and here the writer's song name is misspelled, and you're not diligent with all your details. Rookie mistake. That's how you're going to lose money with this stuff. So we're helping you make sure that all your boxes are checked, that you can confidently say, I did it well, I did it clearly.
So you're saying it's not easy. There's a lot of admin to take care of.
Yes.
But if you want to take this thing seriously, step by step, you can get it done, and you've lit candles in a very dark pathway, so people can actually see their next step, so that they can keep going in the right direction. So that some creatives out there, they might just be sitting on the next best thing. They put it out there, and all of a sudden, not only do they do well for themselves, become famous, get their song heard everywhere, but they also get to put money in their back pocket, and the journey then can continue.
Yeah.
And it's not just a once-off thing.
Yes. They build a business. They build a sustainable, repeatable system.
Wow.
And that's really what's exciting about this. Plus, you get to do it in half the time.
Yeah.
Now, if you had to keep these 73 steps in your mind, and you don't know what the steps are, the overwhelm of that, like I mentioned, will cause you to stop.
Yeah.
But now we take that overwhelm out of the equation. You just step by step working through it. At the end of it, you're going to have templates, you're going to have tools and all these things that's going to make it quicker and quicker and quicker to release music. So the process is designed to help you just become more and more efficient at it. And that's really what the empowering part of this is.
That
to
is
not just release more music and release it better over time.
It's such a desire to close the gap between that inspiration and release.
Yes.
It's a very, to be sitting on something and like usually those 4 weeks of like waiting for it to be uploaded to Spotify, sometimes the longest month of your life.
I know the feeling.
But yeah, like you're saying, it's going to get easier, it's going to get quicker, and making sure that you don't rush it too much though, because impatience can lead to the whole thing falling apart.
100%. That's it. If you rush it, if you do want to spend the most time doing the things you love, writing music, those kind of things. You want to spend the least amount of time on admin. but you don't want to be rushing your release process, the strategy behind it. And there's so many routes you could go these days. The waterfall strategy of single album compiled as a collection of singles.
I love that.
Those type of release strategies help you think longer term. You're not just dropping songs. You're drawing people in. You're building a brand. You're maintaining attention. That's how you build this business. And these tools are going to help you build that sustainably, because things like your release links, you can be capturing fans through your release, your smart links, and you can be building databases of people that follow your music, that want to engage with you, direct to their email. Not through social media where it gets filtered, what they see. You're owning your database. You're taking control of this. Plus, with smart links, you start seeing exactly where people are streaming in from, where they're clicking on your links, where the traffic is coming from. So you can start analyzing where to put your promotional efforts and how to optimize your fan base. If you go viral in Brazil, wow, okay, let's put some attention into Portuguese type of marketing and engaging with that audience and building that community. It's empowering you with a lot more data in that way.
So if someone's interested about Music Royalty Lab, like, what is their next step?
You can sign up for a free account at any point, and it's forever going to be free. We did want to make sure that this knowledge spreads far and wide. In the free package, you get access to the Music Industry 101 course, which breaks down a lot of the really important principles. We did want to give almost like our best content up front, add the most value to people's lives, and that's where the heart is. So part of this free package, you're going to get the 101 course. You also get access to a release, a free release with almost all of the features enabled, but it's kept on your one release. And as you want to release more music, as you want to store more metadata, as you want to grow your setup, you can then upgrade. And then it's built on the amount of releases. And there's a lot of technicalities around the platform in the sense of AI tools create this complexity of a credit system. So you can do a lot with it, but as you upgrade your package, you get access to more AI credits, more storage, more releases, and you can build it over time. But you can start with a free one and add unlimited team members into that one, build your first release, and get the knowledge. I think that's the important part.
So here we are with the Music Royalty Lab, which I'm so excited about. But can you take us through the journey of your life leading up to this point?
Music has always been part of my life. I think my mom was always playing piano in our house, and she came from a musical background. And when I was about 15, music entered my life, took over my entire world, playing guitar, learning how to play guitar, and quickly excelled through that. And when I left school, was faced with a choice. My dad had a dream for me, take over this business of the family, doing accounting and auditing. And I gave it a good go. I really did give it a try, but I realized that part of me was dying. And so that's when the journey of music and Figure of Eight productions and touring the world, doing We Will Rock You and all these shows, playing on Idols, The Voice, all these stages, working with artists in studio, producing songs, mixing, all that stuff. And through that journey, I loved working with artists, but I also realized that I've got a very entrepreneurial spirit. So I started venturing into things like the world of e-learning. And that's where this dream of Music Royalty Lab sort of entered into my life. I was in the music industry, making music, playing on Idols and The Voice, and I realized that if we can empower artists in a self-learning ecosystem of e-learning, that would be really my dream come to life. But when I started trying to execute on this vision, it was flippin' hard. It was in a time where websites weren't easy to build and friendly, and payment processes weren't working in South Africa, and it was really hard. So I went through a journey of having this dream, this vision, I want to help artists, and I was on a mission to build this platform. And as I tried to execute it on myself, I realized that the learning journey and the learning curve is quite steep here. And that's when I went head deep into e-learning and decoding all these systems, and also understanding how do you develop content that actually sticks, that is easier to learn, and instructional design principles. At that time, my sister LeMay was busy building a business called Yellow Seed Consulting. It had been a year old or so. And she's an industrial psychologist who worked with corporate companies and leadership development and all these things that I was also quite curious about. Stephen Covey and John Maxwell, these were mentors in my life for many years out of just pure self-development interest. And when I was able to then merge this world of coming into corporate with my e-learning experience, that's when Yellow Seed sort of took off. It was in that era of COVID, so right time, right place. Just before COVID, we started this business, Yellow Seed e-learning and instructional design and content development. And I looked at it from the perspective of, here I've got an opportunity to learn the skills to build a business around the thing that I actually want to execute on down the line. I always had this vision, you know, and I was able to just sharpen my skills and understand this topic. And now I'm here, you know, Yellow Seed's 10 years old now. It's been quite a journey of mastering and refining these tools and technologies and being plugged into that world. And then this world of AI came about and just made a lot of things more possible. What was holding me back 10 years ago is now not an obstacle anymore. And I've built the skills and I've built the knowledge and know-how and capability and team members and all of that to help me understand and execute this world. So that's now this crux that we're at now, you know, bringing the world of Yellow Seed and instructional design and the e-learning component experience back to this music experience. And I'm merging that for everyone so that I can really add value to your life. That's my goal.
Dude, that's so dope. I'm so glad we're here.
Yeah.
Because sometimes life takes you through all these really strange places. In some, like, what almost feels like dots that could never be connected somehow.
It's full circle moments that just come together. And that's why I still hold on to those words of Stephen Covey, begin with the end in mind. And it's been a journey of, for me, really holding that vision in mind for decades now, 15 years in the making, of one day I'm going to build this music business, this platform that's going to help artists. And my life and my identity and everything was shaped around it, you know, and I never knew why and how. I had this burning desire inside me. And only years later does it all start making sense, and you go, oh wow, I was taken down this path to learn this, and then this path, and then this path, and then this person, and then this experience, and it all start making sense. And so here we are now with this culmination of 20 years of experience and growth and detours of note. And my goal is really to help people. Like, if I had someone, you just put yourself 20 years back, if you had someone that came to you and said, you know what, before you jump head deep into this industry, here's the big picture. Here's what you need to know.
Wow.
Your decisions will be very different.
Yeah.
Your maturity, how you show up, will be very different. You'll ask the right questions. So that is why I'm so excited about this platform. It's been my life's work in many ways. It's been my identity. It's been everything I've been pursuing for 20 years, distilled into something to help people break through that limitation of not knowing what you don't know.
Gemma uses this phrase, you know, she doesn't want artists to die on their sword. And it's like to create at the expense of themselves. You know what I mean? Because that drive, that fire is so strong that you just move towards it. But sometimes if you just jump into it, you just get burnt, and like you make something, but completely at your own expense. And you find yourself in such a bad place, actually. you know. But it doesn't have to be that way anymore. You can make it. You can make amazing content. You can make amazing music for the world and still not have to be completely disintegrated by the fire. You can still, you know, have these strategies in place that can actually get you paid, can actually just keep you on the journey of making some stuff.
I love that. And I think that's probably the best advice, you know, that we could probably give to that young artist trying to get out there. There are other alternatives to you just feeling overwhelmed and not getting the success and traction. There's other alternatives to that now. And in this day and age, knowledge is power. And I think this is what Music Royalty Lab is really going to empower artists with. To use that sword wieldingly and to point it in the right direction and to cut down the barriers that shouldn't be there. And to fend away predators who are going to come at them. Because here's the reality. The second you go viral, the second there's some attention, you're going to get this swoop of vultures on you, offering you deals, offering you contracts. Hey, try side this, we promised this, you know, stars in their eyes. And it's in that moment that you feel that validation. You're like, finally someone hears me and sees me. So by receiving this contract, I feel validated. And it's those opportunities that we really want to empower you to say, let me first be protected by my vision, my strategy, ownership. It's an ownership era. The second you sign away your music, that royalty is lost. That revenue is lost. You're going to have to fight to get that back, if you ever get it back. So before you step into those deep concrete pits, make sure your stuff is set up. Make sure you're getting the right advice. I mean, we used to pay thousands of rands to get this advice from attorneys, music attorneys. It's a different reality now, different age. And so the AI tools, the knowledge, we've trained bots, we've done research, we've done a lot of work to make this platform current, accurate, a source of truth of what is actually happening in the industry. And so it can give you that confidence to make sure you're walking in the right direction and with the right people and with the right things set up.
When you told me about like this big black box where all these royalties go to that are unclaimed, that just builds up, and this is a real thing that's out there.
Massive.
That people aren't getting paid and it's just going into this void. That blew my mind.
Hundreds of millions, billions of rands just lost, just unclaimed revenue. And it's because people don't know. It's that exact problem I was explaining earlier of you just misspelling here, misspelling there, not being diligent with your releases, metadata, those type of things. That's what feeds this black box. And that's a reality. I don't think people realize the extent of it, the amount of money being lost to the system. Because after a couple of years, that money, they just pay it out to the top artists, you know, because SAMRO and those companies use, or societies use, sampling data to inform who they should be paying. So now these unclaimed royalties just go to the top megastars, and they just get richer and richer and richer. And all the deserving artists at the bottom lose out on revenue because they weren't looking after their business. So it's this lopsided effect where the rich just get richer and the poor just stay poor. And we need to flip that table. We need to empower people to make sure that you understand how to go onto SAMRO, how to go into the undock list, where to find your ISRC codes, how to make sure that this stuff is all coming into your pocket. That's the work now.
It's going to change the game.
Yeah. We need it. South Africa needs it. Nobody's talking about the stuff loudly enough. Nobody's giving clear steps to just follow. And that's what we want to try and break down. That stigma of it's this maze that is designed for you to not understand. Breaking it down. So if you enjoyed this podcast episode and you want to learn more, go and check out www.musicroyaltylab.app. You can sign up for your free account. You can do your first releases there. You can get empowered with all of this knowledge that we discussed today, all for R0. If you want to grow your business, if you want to make sure your releases are taken care of, you can upgrade your account at any time. And we look forward to seeing you in the lab.